Hello, PSY-211 instructors. Welcome to the third and final faculty meeting for 16EW1. I apologize for the platform in which this meeting is being recorded. My Adobe Connect was not allowing my microphone to connect, so there was a trouble issue. We tried for 15 minutes unsuccessfully. So the backup plan was to record this and then share it with the group. So there will be no dialogue, and this quote-unquote meeting will be a little briefer than previous gatherings, but I just wanted to share some important information that I had on tonight's agenda. The first part of the meeting was slated for updates on what's going on in your course, any trends that you're seeing as the term winds down. What have you been noticing that stands out, trouble spots or anything like that? I've encountered, and in talking with a few other instructors, many late submissions where students are submitting assignments 1 week late. So for the beginning of module 7, the students were submitting the module 5 assignments late that Sunday night. And I would just encourage you to reach out to the students and provide as much support as possible. I know the targeted outreach is continuing, but encourage them to get their assignments in. Being the first run of this course, many students are confused about the sequence of the project, milestones. So being supportive and being helpful, sending them, a supportive email or contacting their advisor and getting a hold of them, just to keep them engaged and getting them to submit assignments. I'm finding that most of my students within the 2 sections I'm teaching are getting their assignments in. It's just a matter of they need a little nudge, a little encouragement, but they are getting the assignments in even if they're late. Also, coming up this week, we have the reading and reflection days. So make sure you note that the assignments, the first discussion is due Saturday night, and then the course ends on Tuesday when the replies are due, and the final project will be due next Tuesday as well. The confusion in my course, on my end and on the student end, seems to have died down a little bit as the term unfolded. It seems like there was much more confusion early on, and that kind of peaked around milestone 2. I'm not sure if you're seeing the same thing in your sections, but for me, the confusion kind of peaked with milestone 2, and it has subsided significantly in recent weeks, where the students seem to have a handle on the expectations for the milestone leading into their final project, and they're familiar with the process of the journals, and so that seems to be, things seem to be going smoother now as compared to earlier in the term. Make sure that you encourage your students to use the final paper template for their final project. That will help guide them through the process of completing that. And here in Module 8, we also have the final discussion thread, which gives you a chance to kind of interact with your students. I know the last 4 modules had journals, so that was private discussion with the feedback that you were giving them. But now there's a public forum within the discussion where students will pick topics from the course, and you'll have the opportunity to piggyback those ideas and expand on those ideas and interact with the students one final time in a community forum where you can then kind of end the term on a positive note where you're giving them some additional guidance and instruction. So I find that will be helpful to kind of reconnect in a sense with the students. And one other thing I wanted to mention is exemplars. So as you all know, this is the first run of this newly structured 211 course, and we do not currently have exemplars. In the surveys that have been given out, both instructors and students have found the examples to be very useful and helpful. But one thing that goes beyond the examples that are provided within the courses are examples of student work that stand out. And students kind of like seeing other students' work, seeing a completed version of an assignment that earned a high grade is useful to students. Therefore, if you could maybe go back into your courses and look for the milestone 1, milestone 2, milestone 3, and as the final projects start to trickle in, if you can find exemplars, assignments where students did a fantastic job, they're excellent examples of student work, these could be shared with students. And they can be shared within your courses, or even better, they could be shared within the course itself and help students across sections. So I urge you, request that if you have examples of student work, if you have these exemplars, if you could share them with others. Now, of course, either way, whether you use them for your own course or you use them for, or you share them using a design feedback ticket, I'll talk about that in a second, you do need the student permission to do that. So the official SNHU permission form, I emailed the entire group earlier. That has to be sent to the student and completed. If they cannot sign it electronically, they'll have to fill it out, print it, sign it, scan it, and send it back. I know it's tedious, but that gives you permission to use their work. You cannot use their work without their permission. But it'll be extremely helpful if you submit a design feedback ticket for a standout assignment that can be used across courses. And if you submit it with the student permission form, that would be extremely helpful moving forward. It will lessen the confusion for students in future sections of this course. And we can kind of compile, some great examples to guide the students as they complete the milestone work. The goal is that to lessen the confusion and frustration on the student end, and I think exemplars will be a fantastic way to do that. Moving on, the other thing I wanted to cover is I just wanted to share some resources. You guys have been emailing me separately, some of you asking me how certain things are done, and there's a few resources that I regularly use that I find to be extremely helpful in this course or any course you're teaching. And the one that I'm using actually right now was a backup plan is Screencast-O-Matic. And Screencast-O-Matic you can do a voiceover, screen record, or you can include a webcam. It's easy, very, very easy to use. It's free, which is great. You can sign up for $15 a year for a version of the software that allows you to create annotations and videos longer than 15 minutes. But let's face it, the students aren't going to sit there for 15 minutes and watch an instructional video. So you don't really need it. The free version is fine. You can provide guidance. I use a lot of screen recording when students ask me a question that would take a while to type in an email. I find it very easy to make for example, a student the other day asked me about reviewing their feedback within the rubrics. So I quickly made a video using Screencast. It took me about 2 minutes, and I sent them the video and guided them through the process rather than me saying click here, click there. It's very useful, and like I said, it's easy to use, and best of all, it's free. Another resource that I like to use is Grammarly. So if you download Grammarly, it goes beyond spell check and comma use, capitalizations. It picks out all of the mechanics and grammar, not all, but when you make mistakes, they stand out to you. You can fix them really easily using this software. I shared this in a training a few months ago, and many people jumped on it and said thank you very much. They found it to be very useful. When you download it, you can download the add-in. So when you're typing an add-in for your internet browser, so when you're typing an email or typing on any website, including the discussion boards, it will catch any grammatical mistakes and give you the option of changing them or leaving them if it is something that you intended to type but it picked it up anyway. But another fantastic resource to use for you. You could also share it with your students if you want. It will help them with their writing as well. The third resource that I wanted to share is Google Voice. I know a lot of instructors are hesitant to share their actual number with students. Let's face it, nobody wants to be called at 3 o'clock in the morning because a student's having an issue and they chose to call instead of email. But Google Voice provides you with a free telephone number. If you sign up for a Google Voice account, if you have a Google account, you just have to download Google Voice and create an account. You'll be able to select a phone number. Therefore, you can pick something that from a list, obviously, but you can select what phone number you want to use. It's very helpful for having students call that number instead of your cell phone number. You can turn it off, so you can forward it to your cell phone, or you can turn that off. The students can either text or they can leave voicemails, and if they leave a voicemail, you can set it up so that you get a text transcription of the voicemail that was left for you. Therefore, if you're kind of on the go and you have something pushed to your email, you can get a summary. The voicemail that the student left, you can read it while you're on the go to see if it's something that's urgent or something that can wait. And like I said, you can pick from a list but kind of customize your number. So my number includes Dr. Dom in it, and my basketball number from when I was in college, 34, Dr. Dom. And that's an easy way for me to remember it, and an easy way for students to kind of remember it as well. Once again, all three of these resources are free. I'm going to send out links to these. Obviously, when you're getting this presentation, if you scroll down in the email, you'll also have links to these resources. The screencast link will take you to the download page. You just click start recording, and that's where you can download Screencast-O-Matic. The two links, Grammarly and Google Voice, will take you to a brief YouTube video that will show you how to show you a little bit about the resources, and there should be links for you to download as well if you so choose. But just some resources to help you out as an instructor, and hopefully you find them useful. And the last part of the agenda, and since there's no dialogue, I'm kind of moving right along, and by now you're probably tired of hearing me, so I'll wrap this up real quick, is the final instructional clarity surveys. They're going to be deployed on Thursday the 15th. You'll receive an email to complete those by next Wednesday, the 21st of December. And if you could take a few minutes to fill it out, that would be fantastic. There's not that many questions because it's really focused just on the final project, the continue working and the final project here in Module 8. And the other part of that is the student announcement that contains the link for the student survey. If you could please share this with students, that would be great. Like I said early on, we're trying to get as much feedback as possible because the changes that were made to this course will inform changes that are made to other courses within the program. So the more information we have, the better at tailoring those courses and designing them in an optimal way. And I know that everyone is busy, and I'm thankful that you had the opportunity to meet with me throughout the term, and I thank you for taking the time to fill out the surveys, attend the meetings, and try new things in your courses, and bearing with the trouble or some of the issues that we've experienced with the 211 rollout. But overall, I think it was successful, and the students seem to be, in my sections at least, getting what's expected of them and getting a lot out of it. And that's ultimately why we're here. But thank you for taking the time to sit through this recording, and enjoy the rest of your term. I hope it's productive, and have a wonderful break and a happy holiday. Have a good night, everyone.